support strategies and technology, working with HUD and others, President indicate the direction of the program. The question is, what's the pace of it?
But the thing is that there's this tension between utilities and the people who want to build the community. And it's sort of like Lucinda Reed was sort of emphasizing that utilities need to be smart utilities. Is front and center for the PUC. I don't basic background where they're at, but I think that's their job is to ensure that we're in the future that people have the opportunity to get cost reductions that attend to installation and get reasonable return on that. But I'm sure they'll figure it out. The last thing before one last thing is, can we assume you're speaking for Senator Clinton, Secretary Clinton,
well,
in this role? Or?
Look, I would say the Secretary's done in terms of putting her plan is to set two strong goals for the country. One was to see the deployment of a $500 billion solar panels by the end of the first term, and secondly, to install enough renewable power to power all of America in 10 years by 2027. That's about a third of the electricity produced. Those are big goals, and there's a plan behind it that can happen. That requires states to participate in a smart way to deploy those resources. It builds on the Clean Power Plan that the President released early in August. It anticipates a significant deployment of both utility scale renewable energy, but also distributed renewable energy. And so I think we have to, private sector, government, states, and I think one of the emphasis we made in this plan is local communities need to participate in this. One of the things holding it back as we talk to companies that are trying to be engaged in this business is sometimes it's not even the structure of the utility regulation, but simply the lack of capacity to process permits at the local level that holds back deployment. But we've hit the stage where in 20 of the 30 largest cities in the United States, deployed solar is cheaper than grid power. So I think we're going to that's where the future lies. We're going to have to try and structure this figure out so that utilities can continue in their role. That the burden isn't placed on a narrow section of electricity users, but that we get the deployments of renewable energy that the country wants, as evidenced by the public polling, and needs as evidenced by the threat to, as I said, to the environment, to the economy, and to the security of the country.
What about Biden getting in the race? Yeah, what does the Clinton campaign think about it?
Are you nervous? Is the Secretary nervous?
Look, we're across. We have a message to really important to the public. We have a strategy for doing that. We're organizing across the country. We're feeling very good about the organization we've developed here in Nevada. We've all worked closely with. I worked with the Vice President since I started on Capitol Hill in 1979. We all like him. It's his decision to make about whether he's going to get in. But I'm convinced that we have a strong campaign, that she's the right candidate, that we'll proceed with a plan that we have in terms of talking about the real issues that are facing the American public, on the economy, on reshuffling the deck so that people see their wages rising again, on dealing with issues like expanding access to paid sick days, to child care, to equal pay.
we'll prosecute our case, and if the vice president gets in, I'm sure there'll be a good debate amongst Democratic candidates.
Any reaction to Josh Earnest saying today that Biden was the best hire he ever made, even considering Secretary of State?
Well, look, the vice presidents work very closely with the president, and deserves credit for the achievements of the administration. And my office was 8 feet away from his in the White House, and I enjoy working with him. I think the president's a very good partner with him as vice president. But I don't. If Mr. Earnest was saying more than that was a great hire, that's up to him to explain.
Two questions. One real quick on Biden. Back to energy. One on Biden. How much longer? What's the cutoff?
I don't know that there's, he's been through great tragedy this year. He's lost his son. He's taking the time to kind of think it through, think about whether he wants to move forward and throw his hat in the ring. But I don't know if there's any specific timeline. The only thing I know we're doing is trying to create the strongest organization we can in order to fight for every vote so that we can be successful in being the nominee. We're doing that in Iowa. I just came from South Carolina. We're doing it in Nevada. We're doing it in New Hampshire. And we're doing it across the country. We've got organizers out in all 50 states, and we're trying to build an organization that can be the right kind of grassroots-based organization that'll produce the nomination and be successful in November 2016.
And back on energy, you've been attending and involved in these sorts for a long time. Just relax for a minute and sort of tell us what is the outcome of all this, and how does this sort of dovetail with as the president prepares to leave? What is his legacy?
This is the 8th year of doing this, and I remember the first one, President came and challenged Nevada to be a point of spirit for this clean energy revolution, and suggested an audacious goal that Nevada had the capacity to produce as much clean energy as clean electricity as they were using. And just in 4 years' time, there was over 500 megawatts of renewable electricity. That keeps going up and up, and we heard that from Senator today and others. So whether it's solar, whether it's wind, whether it's geothermal, Nevada really, I think, is a leader in this movement towards cleaner renewable resources. And I think what this forum has done is it's become a go-to place in August in Las Vegas.
Everybody can't wait to come to Nevada in August.
Everybody can begin to think about what the future could be like for climate change. It's around the corner. But it's also discussed some of the most important issues, and I think led to ideas that, because of the leadership position that the Senator's had, has been able to move forward. So whether that was the Recovery Act or extending on a multi-year basis the renewable energy credits that we see in ITC, whether it was dealing with how we better source renewables on public lands and try to zone to increase the capacity to move clean energy onto public lands, whether it was the focus on efficiency or the focus on when we began, there wasn't, people didn't even see, we talked in our first couple of summits about the revolution of the low price of natural gas we have on electricity. So it's been a very important forum, and I think also the decision to create the Clean Energy Project here in Nevada was focused. The Nevada legislature tried to work with the government, created a business coalition here in Nevada, created thousands of advocates for clean energy here in Nevada. So I think this has actually been an extremely successful enterprise, something that the Podesta Charity was one of the original co-sponsors. And I think we're very pleased with what's happened. I think it's also given the kind of ideas and support that the president's needed to do what what he's doing.
And as the president heads to Paris and tries to do these final acts in his term, how will he be remembered? How will his energy and vision?
Look, I think the president's just done game-changing efforts, whether that's on the transportation side with resident fuel economy for passenger fleet, now for heavy-duty trucks, what he's been able to do with the Clean Power Plan, tackling the question and working with the business community to replace hydrofluorocarbons with safer chemicals, tackling the methane problem in terms of leakage from oil and gas production. He's got sort of all-in perspective on this, and that's really created the opportunity for him to be a leader internationally. So the fact that we were able to do the joint announcement with President Xi in China was, as you heard Secretary Denny say this morning, was really a game-changing event. It pumped life into the negotiations and made people see that there could be a positive outcome in Paris. It got others to come on board. And in every meeting, and I was in a lot of meetings with the president, with foreign leaders, in every meeting it's something that the president put on the table, pressed forward with, whether that was with President Rousseff in Brazil, whether it was Prime Minister Modi who visited in January in India. Some of these have been, they're tough in terms of transformation, but we've seen big commitments coming forward as a result. And that's others who have really kind of stepped up to the plate. So I'm pretty optimistic about an outcome in Paris that's not going to be all that we need to do, but it's going to really put the world on the right track to transform energy systems, not just here in the U.S., but across the developing world.
You mentioned the renewable tax credits. There's discussion on Capitol Hill now about a compromise where you lift the crude oil export ban, perhaps get an extension of the PTC, the ITC. Is that a negotiation that's worth?
I'm not close enough to it these days, having kind of left the White House and really know where some real action lies up there. So, I mean, I think that's a question better asked of someone who's in the administration or working on Capitol Hill right now in terms of what kind of horse trading needs to go on. The thing I know is that we've had 100 years of subsidies for the oil and gas industry, and it's time to face down fossil fuel subsidies and move forward with cleaner technology.
So much of what's happening here in Nevada and elsewhere on clean energy is because of those tax credits.
Yeah.
I mean, is it not?
Well,
it's
look,
Republican
I think
Congress.
it's extremely important that they be extended. And the Secretary's proposed reforming and making them permanent to be the underpinning of the aggressive goals that she's put forward. So, I think the Hill was a funny place, and anything's always a funny thing. What is likely right now? I think if I read my colleagues in the White House correctly, they're thinking about what happened at the end of this fiscal year and be able to move forward with a budget and not shut the government down. Our Republican friends will want to do and get the right investments going forward. And I think this will be in the discussion in the next Senate Finance Committee. I think is reporting out extensions.
Not for the ITC,
package. Well, the ITC. Look, I think it's time to extend the ITC now because I think that people need to plan for that. Something would argue that can expire this year. It's got a little bit more life left in it, but I think it's time to try to do that now so that people can begin to think about and plan for the capital investments that will be necessary. So that would be my view, but whether that's I leave it to the administration to see what they can accomplish.
What does the Secretary think? What does the Secretary think about the crude exports?
I think that it's a. I'm not going to get ahead of that
because frankly, I haven't really discussed it with her. I think right now, I think what the administration has done is to relieve the pressure that is building with respect to light oils that was the result of fracking. So I think that was a hotter issue a year ago than it is right now because of the capacity to absorb the U.S. production into the current system with the ability of oils that are not easily absorbed into the U.S. system to be like condensates and other things. So I don't know.
Is net metering a subsidy in the eyes of John Podesta?
Net metering is I think, has proven to be a smart way to enhance deployment.
What was the reaction of your colleagues, former colleagues in the administration, when Secretary Clinton and President
That's a better question than I expected.
Did you hear from them?
I let him know that we were going to do it, so understood.
Does the Secretary's plan with respect to solar require looking at lifting some of the restrictions on imports of solar products, particularly from China?
Look, I think that what we need is a kind of fair playing field here, so that Chinese, particularly given what's going on now in the Chinese economy, the Chinese themselves are absorbing a lot of their production because they've set strong clean energy goals. But if that changes and they have a tendency when they reach overcapacity to begin to at least some of the companies that are there to begin to dump product, not just in the U.S. but across the world. I think that's an issue that has to be dealt with so that we have fair competition. But there's no question that China has a great need to absorb its own high-end capacity if it's going to meet the targets that it's set forward as part of the Paris negotiations. They're talking about deploying 900 gigawatts of clean power between now and 2030. That is a huge amount. That's as much as the current generation capacity they have for coal-fired power. So that is a huge ramp up in clean energy in China. They need to do it for their own security. They're very vulnerable to climate change, but most particularly the public health situation in China is strongly affected by the pollution that's affected China's cities.
There was some discussion about you having a key role in the pre-negotiations of the deal that President Obama finally reached with China. You want to talk about that?
Well, I was the principal that, Secretary Kerry set this in motion in conversations he had in early 2014 with his Chinese counterparts about the idea that as long as both countries set ambitious targets, that doing it together, building negotiations, doing it around the APEC could really add momentum to the Paris negotiations. Chinese became interested in that, and then myself and Todd Stern, Special Climate Envoy at the State Department, negotiated with the Executive Vice Premier General Lee and Xie Zhenhua, the climate negotiator. That took place over many trips, multiple countries, and kind of culminated into a final series of negotiations that reached acceptable agreement to both sides during the weekend before the trip. The president made the final agreement with President Xi, one-on-one dinner that he had the night before the announcement. So
In that process,
we were happy with the outcome. We thought that the Chinese, we pressed them for the most ambition they could go forward with. One of the things that was included in their announcement was that Chinese emissions would peak around 2030.
Right.
I was just back over there. I suspect they would peak. We thought maybe they could do a little bit better than that, but that was what they had agreed to, talking to their technical experts in their political system that they agreed to by the standing committee. But I started saying just there 6 weeks ago, and my guess is that peak will probably sometime in 2025. So they're on a faster track to peak than their UNFCCC commitment right now. But that's going to take that deployment of clean power. They're also obviously investing substantial resources in building out a civil